If you want to learn from the pros and become the best Madden player possible, check out Playbook GG. Link is in the description and in the pinned comment below. What's going on, everybody? It's EricRayweather back here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over 5 hidden tips about Madden 20 that you don't know about. 5 secret things that can help you on both sides of the ball that just kind of go under the radar, that aren't really actually advertised by EA as things you can actually do in the game, and things that most Madden players just simply don't know about. I actually did a list like this for Madden 19 last year, and a lot of people really enjoyed it because they were finding out things about the game that, features even in the game that they didn't know existed, because they're kind of small under the radar type features that don't really get advertised or talked about. So for Madden 20, there are some new things, especially that are relative to this year's game, that I definitely want to talk about. So let's get right into it. The number one thing on the list that is extremely important for this year, because of the amount of fumbles that you see in the game this year. If you play the game, you know how the fumbles are. They're pretty crazy right now. The number one tip is, if you have a guy on defense that has the big hitter trait, he will pretty much always hit stick for you the majority of the time. Now, this is not to be confused with the enforcer ability, which is kind of this same thing but on steroids, because they hit those guys will hit you every single time, and they will hit you hard, and they will force a lot of fumbles. But if you have the big hitter trait, they're pretty much gonna hit stick you the far majority of the time. Maybe not every single time, but the far majority of the time, the CPU guys with big hitter trait are gonna go for hit sticks. So why is this important? Because if you're playing, you want to have a team that has the most big hitters, or a good amount of big hitters on defense, because that's going to give you the chance to get more forced fumbles, and that could, in a lot of cases, make it to where you're getting an extra possession a game. Sometimes 2 extra possessions a game if you're forcing a lot of fumbles. This year, the hit sticks cause more fumbles than they have, in any Madden that I can remember in recent memory. And a lot of people aren't good at avoiding the hit sticks and the big hits. So if you have a lot of big hitters on your defense, you can definitely guarantee yourself more opportunities to get extra possessions in the game. So how do you know if somebody has the big hitter trait? If you're playing regular teams, you have to actually go into the roster. You have to go to edit players. So you go, let's say you go to the Vikings defense, and you're just going to edit. You're going to open up each player's edit menu. And if you go to their ratings, it'll tell you their traits. And it'll say big hitter, yes or no. So you'll know if they have it. So the key here is, if you're playing regular teams, maybe you want to try to find teams that have the most big hitters that also fit your playstyle. Obviously, the offensive side of the ball supposed to fit your playstyle too, but you want to find a team that has the most big hitters. And you might have a situation where you might have a couple backup guys that are big hitters, but the starters at that position aren't big hitters. But if the starters at those positions aren't all-star type players, if they're not far and away better than the backup, then you'd be better off actually putting the backup as your starter, because that big hitter is that much more important. If you're in franchise mode, it's a little bit easier because you can just acquire the players that have big hitter trait. If you're in Ultimate Team, same thing. You can just get the players on your team that have big hitters. For me, when I play Ultimate Team, I try to never put somebody on my defense this year who does not have the big hitter trait if I can help it, because that's how useful it is. And if you want to find out who has the big hitter in terms of Ultimate Team, you could actually do that by going to muthead.com on their little player. They have a little thing where you can search through the players, and you can actually break the criteria down by big hitter, and it'll just tell you everybody that has it. So that's an easy way to do it there. But definitely make sure you're taking advantage of that this year, because with how the fumbles are right now, these can really make the difference between winning and losing games. Number 2 on the list is something I actually covered last year, but I want to add it to the list again this year, because I think this is something that's still very under the radar, but also very useful, and that is the ability to flip your run play right after you leave the play call screen, so that the defense has no clue that you're actually flipping it. Because if you wait till you get to the line of scrimmage to flip your play, the QB will animate, he'll tap his butt or whatever, and it's just giving a slight tell to the defense that there's a good chance that this guy's flipping his play. Because yes, you could, in theory, you could fake it. You could flick the joystick and actually not really flip the play, because you could just flick the joystick to the same side that the run's already going. But most times when people do want to flip the run, they don't fake it. Most average players, they just flip the run, and that gives a tell to the defense that, hey, this guy probably flipped his run to the weak side. So instead, as soon as you break the huddle, because sometimes you just know already that you want to flip your run. The run might be designed to go to the strong side, but certain run plays in the game, especially where you're at on the field, usually will still work better sometimes if you flip it to the weak side. So if you already know you want to do that, you want to just flick the right joystick to whichever side you want the run to go to as soon as you break the play call screen, because the QB won't animate and the defense will have no clue that you're actually trying to flip the run. So isn't the biggest deal in the world, but it's just always good, in my opinion, to be able to disguise things as much as possible. So any little thing you can do as to not give a tell to the defense that you could possibly be doing something is still something you should take advantage of, in my opinion. Number 3 on the list is another one that a lot of pro players know this, a lot of seasoned vets know this, and this is actually super important. And that is when you have tired players in your lineup, how you can get them kind of get their stamina back a little bit quicker. So you'll notice, like, for example, if you play this game, you might run the ball 3 times in a row with Saquon Barkley or something, and when you're at your play call screen, he'll start turning like really dark yellow, or sometimes he'll turn red, and that means that he's tired. And if you go out and give the ball to him again on that next play, there's a very big chance that he could fumble because his stamina is so low. And with fumbles already being crazy this year, this is even a more important tip than it has been in previous years. So if your player's starting to get tired and you don't want to sub him out, it's a big down coming up and you just really can't afford to sub him out, there's like kind of a trick that you can get some of his stamina back quicker. So if you just keep cycling through your formations, just clicking the joystick back and forth, left, right, left, right, left, left, just keep scrolling through the formations for about 10 to 15 seconds. Most of the time you'll notice that after you scroll through for like 10 to 15 seconds, sometimes in some cases it might take like 20 seconds, but if you scroll through a bunch of times, you'll notice that his fatigue will he'll get more of his stamina back. Like, he might go from dark yellow to light yellow, or he might go from yellow to like a light green. Because I guess maybe, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because you're just waiting a little bit longer to call the play, if that has something to do with it, but it's kind of like one of those myth things, like why it actually works, but it definitely works. It's something that was definitely a big thing in the game last year, and it's definitely still in the game this year. So if your player's tired and you don't want to take him out, cycle through your plays and you can get some of his stamina back, and in crucial points of the game, that is going to be very useful for you. Number 4 on the list is another huge tip that, again, seasoned vets kind of know this. It was a thing last year. It's still a thing again this year. But this is really crucial, and especially for this year because of how good the run game is. And that is, you can click your right joystick in on run plays to make your defense instantly react to the run. So, if you know on defense there is like a mechanic where it's really meant for pass defense, right? Particularly for like QB spy. So like if you were to put somebody in a QB spy and somebody rolled out of the pocket with their quarterback, if you click the right stick down, the spy will rush the quarterback. That's what the mechanic is really meant for. But even if you don't have a spy, if you just have like a zone defense out there, even if it's a man defense, if the quarterback's rolling outside of the pocket and you click the right stick in, it's going to usually blitz the nearest defender at the quarterback, because you're basically saying you want to get that pressure on the QB quick, make him kind of make a quick decision or take a sack. But you can also use this in the run game, and I don't think this was intended to be used this way, but it definitely works. So with how hard it is to stop the run this year, this is something you want to take advantage of. If you see somebody hand the ball off to a running back, immediately click your right stick down. And that's going to make people instantly, like your whole defense is going to instantly react to the ball carrier. It's almost like run committing without the risk of run committing, because if you actually run commit pre-play, yes, the whole defense is just going to crash down at the running back, but if they actually are wound up to be passing the ball, you would just give up a one-play touchdown. But this way, it's like you're literally run committing immediately after the snap. As soon as you see that the ball is being actually handed off, click the right stick down, and you will notice a huge improvement in your run defense, because especially like the safeties and the cornerbacks on the outside, those guys mainly, those guys go into a little bit of a backpedal in most defensive plays. In most coverages, those guys are going to backpedal, and once they realize it's a run, yes, they come forward, but they're a little bit delayed. But if you click that right stick in, you pretty much break them out of their backpedal immediately, and they instantly start shooting forward. And this really makes it tough for people that want to run the ball. It can cause you to get a lot of, losses of yards in terms of the run play hitting them behind the line of scrimmage, or they get very minimal yards, or they might have had a hole they can run through, but by you clicking that stick and those guys, they start crashing those gaps, and then all of a sudden those holes close up very quick. So this is one of the best pro tips that you can know about Madden, especially this year, because like I said, because of how hard the run game is to stop. And 5 on the list, this is actually something that was just added a couple days ago. So this isn't really much of a hidden or secret feature, but because it's brand new and just got put into the game, most people still don't know about it yet. And this is actually a really cool feature, and that is that you can now actually double team defensive linemen, a feature that we've been wanting for years. And again, just like pretty much everything else on this list, so crucial to Madden 20 because of the new superstar abilities. The superstar pass rushers are so crazy this year, and there's not much you can do to stop them. But now we have a double team feature, so if you're going up against Von Miller or Khalil Mack or JJ Watt, you can tell your defense, hey, I want him double teamed. So the way you do this is you click the LB button to bring up your offensive line adjustments, and you'll see that the double team is down on the right stick. So then you click the right stick down, and then you're going to be presented with this little red circle that says D2. And then what you do is you just use your joystick to cycle through the players, and then once you get on the player that you want to double team, if you're on Xbox, you just hit the A button at that point. If you were on PlayStation, you hit the X button, and that guy will be double teamed every single time you do it. Now, why this is good, obviously, is because you can now neutralize those good pass rushers. Aaron Donald up the middle is a really good example, because that up the middle pass rush this year is really hard to block, but if you double team them, you're going to get more time in the pocket. Now, the only thing you have to be aware of is when you double team somebody, there is a chance that you're going to get a one-on-one with somebody else, or somebody else could come free. So if like someone's bringing an extra rusher off the left edge and you double team somebody on the right edge, that guy off the left edge has a good chance of coming free a lot quicker. So just like in real life, there is going to be risk reward to targeting a certain player on the defense. But if you're playing against people that just rush 3 or 4 guys every play, and they're just relying on that one superstar pass rusher to create that pressure, you can, for the most part, almost neutralize them with this new feature. And I wanted to make sure to put that on this list because it is so brand new. A lot of people still don't even know it's a thing yet, and this is very, very crucial this year. It's going to be crucial going forward to really being able to kind of stonewall some of those really ridiculous pass rushers this year. So that's going to be it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. If you did, as always, you know the drill. Just like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.